Hey guys, it's Mrs. Heiser with an art lesson for you this week. Now I have a special one for you this week because on Thursday, April 22nd, it's actually Earth Day. And this year we're actually celebrating the 50th anniversary of Earth Day. So we're going to look at some earth art or environmental art, and we're going to get a chance to go outside and create our artwork for this week's art project. What I would like to do is start by talking to you guys about an artist named Andy Goldsworthy. So this is a picture of him, and he was really well known for doing artwork that was called earth art or environmental art. So his artwork looked kind of like this. You see, that's actually a reflection in the water. So there's sticks that he built up and then the reflection. So he worked with things like sticks and wood and water, leaves, ice, rocks, all kinds of things. And he once said, I have to understand the nature of change. I cannot just work with stone or the more permanent materials. I need to work with leaves and ice and snow, mud and clay and water and the rising tide and the wind and all these. So what's interesting about his work is you'll see some of his pieces are made out of rock. So if you've been around and you see people stacking rocks up, that's kind of a form of his artwork. He also used sticks. So this one behind me, there's like a hole in a tree, and he used sticks to build around that hole. And this one here is actually created out of leaves. And some of these pieces would kind of give him a challenge because he'd be working on them outside. So imagine trying to piece all these leaves together and then a gust of wind comes and blows them all away. So he kind of worked with challenges from the elements of being outdoors, which is kind of cool. And he thrived on that. Now, Andy Goldsworthy is actually still alive today. He's 63 years old. He was actually born in the United Kingdom. And he has some work here in the United States. He's most famous for being a sculptor with his work outdoors, an environmentalist, and also a photographer as he would photograph his work. So here's that stick piece I showed you. Here's a picture of him actually working on it. So you can see the water and the reflection of where it is, and then he positions it and photographs it how he'd like it. Now, obviously those sticks aren't going to stay up for very long. The wind might blow them and take them away, and the water might rise also and take them away. But some of his work is more permanent, as you'll see. So we could say that he worked plein air. Plein air means to work outdoors. So you'll see this artist with a canvas here. A lot of artists would take their canvases outside and paint. This is a different kind of plein air art, which is also called installation. Now, installation artwork is artwork that's put up for a temporary amount of time. So if I install it, it could easily be taken down, or in this case, like I said, the wind or the rain or water could take it away as well. So an installation you might see in a museum, you might see it outdoors. Okay. Now, Andy Goldsworthy's work is three-dimensional. We talk about 2D and 3D, right? 2D is when it's flat. If I just draw it and it's flat on the paper. 3D or three-dimensional means that it's like I can touch it. It has form to it. So we also talk about the word form. Okay, form is like a three-dimensional thing. So he used what were called found objects. Now in this picture, found objects are different things. Now he would use what he could find outside. Sticks, rocks, leaves, ice even. I'll show you some of his work with some ice. Okay, so here's another one of his stick pieces. He just propped all these sticks up, okay, into that form. Now we were out hiking in our woods and we could see some things like that our cousins actually put up and built this little form that you could kind of crawl up on. It was kind of cool. You can interact with it, almost like a little building. In the United States here, actually in San Francisco, there's a piece that looks like this of his. And in this woods, in this this park, there's actually 4 of his pieces. And you can see this one is like the log. This kid's walking on a log. It kind of zigzags back into space. So that's in San Francisco. And you could actually go there and see there's another one that rises up to the sky like a big spire. It's actually called Spire. There's another one called Woodline. Tree Fall, and Earth Wall. Those are all in San Francisco. So you can actually see his work. Now this one's a little more permanent. The wind or rain wouldn't really take this away, which is kind of neat because we could still enjoy that today. So if you're ever interested in seeing some of his work, you could go to that place in San Francisco and actually see some of it. Okay. Now, talking about that one, perspective. Okay. That linear perspective or even 1-point perspective, looking at how that goes back into space, and it looks like it gets smaller and smaller as it goes back. That's pretty cool, huh? Okay. Now, he was not the first one to do earth art. There was another artist that he was inspired by, and you might recognize this piece. This is one of the most famous, I think, pieces of earth art. And this was by Robert Smithson, who was actually an American artist, and he was born in New Jersey back in 1938. So this one's called the Spiral Jetty, and it was done in 1970. And it's actually in Great Salt Lake, Utah. Okay, that's pretty cool, right in the United States also. So you can see, and here is a picture of Robert Smithson, okay, back from the 70s. So you can see that earth art was not just done by one person. We can all do earth art. And so I was kind of hoping that some of these pieces would inspire you to go outside and create your own earth art, okay, or environmental art. I have some pictures of him working on some stonework. So these are a bunch of stones, and you can see he kind of balanced them into a sculpture, which is really neat. Something a little more simple that you guys could do, if you look at these two. I've seen rocks like this on the beach. These were actually by Andy Goldsworthy. But see those ones with multiple colors and how he layered them up by gray and then white and then the brown and tan. And this one, he kind of created like a cut down the middle and a spiral. So you could find some rocks and create a piece like this. That would be really neat. You can see he played with the tints and shades of these rocks as well. Started with this black center and then laid these white rocks, and slowly they become gray into a dark gray. And these are just done right on the sand. So again, some of these might wash away. This isn't permanent, right? Somebody could walk along and kick these. The wind could blow them. Rain or water could move them. So earth art's not necessarily meant to be permanent, but maybe something that people could enjoy for a little while and then go away. Now Andy also worked with ice, and here is a picture of him sculpting with some ice. So you see these little shards of ice, and the tricky part, he said, was the time. He was fighting against time to make these because the ice would obviously melt as he touched it. So he'd have to create these pretty fast and photograph them before they melted or got washed away, which is kind of neat. So here's another piece of his ice art. You can see kind of a zigzag form in there with the ice. And looking at the photography piece of this, here's a circle, a tall circle that he made out of chunks of snow and ice. And you can see throughout the day how it photographed differently, right? So this might be sunrise when the sun's right on it. Okay, middle of the day, maybe sunset when the sun's behind it and that shadow is on this side. Over here you can see the shadows back here. So another fun part to his artwork was how the light affected it. So during different parts of the day, it would look very different. So photography and sculpture all in one. Now, here's some cool pieces you can do with leaves. Now, obviously it's not fall and we don't have a lot of bright colored leaves now, but you could probably make something like this, or even think about it this summer or this fall. With this piece right around that tree, he took leaves of different colors. You can see the bright yellows, then fading to orange and brown, and it almost made it look like this tree is like glowing or something, right? This reminds me of that piece back in the background here. Okay, so you can make it with just plain leaves, anything you can find outdoors. Here's another one with the leaves, and you can see this one's in the water. Okay, those leaves are in the water. Here's an interesting one with some feathers. This is really cool. So there's line work. He used the lines of the feathers to create this zigzag, really crazy form, and then the feathers kind of sprayed out around it. Now that wouldn't be very permanent, would it? Those feathers probably blow away really easy. Okay, so here's an array of just some different pieces. You could use rocks, you could use leaves. Now obviously we're not going to be able to use ice right now because it's not winter, but think about this in the winter. You might want to use snow or ice, or in the fall, different colored leaves. Okay, so what I'd like you guys to do for your assignment is kind of look at some of his artwork in this piece right here, different colors, leaves, and I want you to create your own earth art. So your part, you could find some sticks. So like this kid is finding these sticks and kind of balancing them like he did, kind of balancing them between this part of a tree. You could create something out of sticks. You could use leaves like he did and kind of do like a mandala, which kind of starts from the middle and it's symmetrical and it goes out, creates that symmetrical design. That would be kind of fun to do. Okay. You could create something with pine cones. This one looks more like what we'd see right now. So there's some pine cones and some brown leaves, and they kind of, again, did this mandala, started in the middle and laid them out around in a circle and went all the way around to the edges. That would be something fun to create. Going with the sticks, you could use sticks and leaves, laying some leaves over the top like that to create something even more interesting or colorful. Or you could just make a fun design with your leaves. Maybe collect some leaves and make some spirals. This would be a really fun thing to do out for a walk. We're actually going to go out for a walk right now. It's gorgeous. And so I was going to take the boys out and make some of these and photograph them. Or maybe you want to use rocks, like he used some rocks. Here's a nice little heart with some rocks you could collect. Okay. And we don't have too many flowers yet, but maybe you could find some flowers. And this kid created some rocks, some bigger rocks, some flowers, and some leaves. So for Earth Day, I want you guys to celebrate by going outdoors and creating your art this week. You can use anything you find outside, pine cones, acorns, leaves, sticks, you name it, and you find it and you can create it. You could write a word, you could create a picture, or just a shape. Okay, I want you guys to have fun with art inspired by Andy Goldsworthy, some earth art and environmental art. So have a great Earth Day, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.